Hello everyone, this is the hand of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was first a bodybuilder, then he basically uh, went into acting field, and then he became the governor of California. So there are three aspects that we would be basically seeing, and we would be also looking at the money aspect in his particular life. So the first thing we have to take into account is the first profession he had, that was bodybuilding. The bodybuilders, it's common sense that if you're a bodybuilder, you need to have strong, structured hands. This is a basic thing, and no bodybuilder would have a weak hand. So the first thing is that if the hand structure, by hand structure, we basically mean the bone structure in the fingers and the palm, if they are strong, it is indicative of strength. And strength does not mean necessarily only strength of like the physical strength. It could also mean the strength to hold over people, money, and resources. So a well-structured hand would always have a better hold over other people. Other people, their own money, their resources, they would have a really strong control over it. So a good structured hand is necessary, and if a person has got a good structured hand, their life is likely to be much better compared to a weak structured hand. So regarding bodybuilding, the physical activity, the hand structure, if it is good, the chances basically brighten up. The first thing. The other aspect about his life is that he was born in 1947, and if we add 35 years to it, so it becomes 1982. I went through his bio and tried to see if there was any change when he turned 35. This is what basically we are going to be seeing. So how to calculate that particular age, we are going to be seeing that particular aspect. So here's the line of head. This is the line of head, and this is basically the line of money. Any line going towards the Saturn mount is the mount of money and possessions. So we are talking about this particular intersection, and at this particular time the age becomes 35. So you would notice that if I'm just removing these particular lines, you would notice that the main money line kinds of ends somewhere at the age of 35, 36, and a new line basically is developing. So a major change basically comes into play in his particular life. The first thing is that, the first indication is that. The second indication to see on his particular hand is that this is basically the headline, and this headline, this is a very normal kind of a headline. It has got two things. First thing is that it has got an upward line on the mount of Jupiter. We would be talking about this particular aspect when we will be talking about the political career in his particular case. That is the latter part. But we are looking at what happened somewhere around the age of 35. We have already talked about the intersection of the money and the headline. This we have already talked about, so that is age 35. So just before the age of 35, on the headline, we find that there's an upward kind of a line pointing towards the mount of Mercury. The mount of Mercury basically represents many things, and one of the things basically it represents is that Mercury represents communication, technical skills, business skills, all kind of skills. This is the area of communication. Mercury is basically the area of communication, and any line going upward from any particular line, be it the heart line, be it the money line, be it the lifeline, all of those lines are considered to be good. So the circle I have drawn out here, this is a good line to see, the upward line on the mount of Jupiter, and the line that is going towards the mount of Mercury. It might not reach till the mount of Mercury, but yet it basically gets the quality of Mercury, and it basically represents that the person would gain due to his skill and his communication skills, his business skills, and business and technical skills. The technical skills can be of variety of things. It could be just if a person is a carpenter, he might not earn much money, but he basically might be very good at his skills. So the likelihood of that particular carpenter gaining more is much more. Then we talk about economics. So this is also the area of economics. So the likelihood of the person knowing statistics is going to be better, and the person would have a good understanding of business and of economics. So this particular area is not just for one particular aspect. It has got multiple meanings to it, be it a lawyer, be it a businessman, be it a politician, or a doctor or an engineer. All those are basically skills. So it basically represents that this particular person is likely to have good amount of skills, and that those skills are going to be fruitful for him. And this upward line from the headline towards the Mount of Mercury means some gains. If I'm just talking about, let's assume there's another line which we don't find out here. If we assume that there's a downward kind of a line pointing towards the base of the mount, this is the base of the mount towards the Mount of Moon, it basically would represent disappointment. But because of this upward line that you see on this particular hand, it basically represents the opposite of disappointment. It basically indicates that there's going to be some luck that is going to take place. There could be some joy or festivity or fortune basically coming to this particular person. See, in person to person, it could be different. In his case, it was extremely large, those gains. He getting a movie, he coming from a foreign country, and he being a bodybuilder. And just bodybuilders basically are not people who get into movie lines and be successful, but he was plain, he was lucky, and probably he had something in him, probably his communication, or he trained himself to be, because this is also the area of one person training himself to be better at some particular skill. So those skills basically came to his benefit, and that's the reason everything happened. As far as the other aspect goes regarding his time in politics, for that basically we would be looking at the area of Mount of Jupiter. This is the area of Mount of Jupiter. Jupiter is a big planet. Big planet basically signifies growth, expansion, honor in one's life. And if a line from the lifeline, if it goes upward or backward towards the Mount of Jupiter, or a line from the head, if it moves backward, these lines can originate at any particular time. It doesn't matter where. All of them are going to be basically good. Even if it happens somewhere towards the mid part of the line also, those are also good. If it happens towards the end also, pointing towards the Mount of Jupiter, all of these lines are going to be good. Provided these lines are not downward from the headline. Those are basically bad and disappointments. So in his case, that upward line that we saw on his Mount of Jupiter basically represents that the person would always be at a high position and always get honor. See, we just look at his later period of his life, where he became the governor of California. But when we talk about his life in much more details, we would find that when he was doing bodybuilding, he won many awards. So this is the area of a person getting awarded. And the Mount of Jupiter or any portion of your hand should not have too many lines over it. So there are least amount of lines, and the only line that we see is the upward line on the Mount of Jupiter. So this is a beautiful sign to have. The other beautiful sign to have is that the heart line, this is the heart line, and it is ending purely and purely on the Mount of Saturn. Saturn basically is for outer appearances, love for outer appearances, and love for physicality, love for physical love. This is also basically the area of money matters. This is the area of possessions. The person desire for money, and if a person desires money, the chances basically brighten up. When we say desiring money, everybody is going to basically stand up and say, no, we want money. But in real case scenarios, when we see when we see people very closely, we find when there is an opportunity to make money, those people basically lose opportunities. So you have to basically love money, and you have to basically desire money, and you have to basically pray for money. It's only then, and you have to basically value money. That's the only time you are going to basically make money. And a heart line that ends purely and purely on the Mount of Saturn means high value for money. High value for money. Though these people are also very, very responsible kind. Say if it concerns themselves, they are very good at managing their own money. If it comes to managing the public money, even there they can do wonders. So it's not purely for self gains. It could be where the person is targeting. If the person is targeting for gains for a particular city or a particular state, the benefits are going to come for that particular state. These people would be able to manage the finances in a very good way. So this is the other aspect regarding his success, regarding his money and how he's able to make good amount of money in his life. The other aspect we would be talking about is regarding his health, and everybody is going to assume that he has a perfect health. Yes, he has a perfect health, but there is a few weakness that we see. And in real case scenario, when I read about him, I found that he had basically opted for heart wall replacement made of his own tissues, and this happened sometime, I think, when he was around the age of 50. That's when it happened. And normal people basically have a aortic wall that has 3 leaflets, but he had only 2. So he had opted for the heart wall replacement made of his own tissues when he was 50. And when in 2018, when he turned 71, again he had open bypass surgery. And this is what we are going to be basically trying to see. Even in the healthy people, these things might happen. So we are going to be looking at the heart line. This is the heart line. You would notice that there is an overlap out here. So our overlap just under the ring finger out here. This is the area we are referring to. So there's a break on the heart line just under the ring finger on the heart line. This basically signifies heart related problems, but heart related problems or heart related issues. But because if we look just normally, we would find that the heart line is reasonably good. Apart from just this break, there's no other bad sign as such, and there's consistency in the heart line. So the ability to take stress, this is what we see on the heart line, the ability to take stress or being focused. The heart line, when deep and clear, as we see in this particular case, it basically signifies that the person is focused. Barring if the person has got too many branches over the heart line, basically that's when we say the person lacks focus and the person lacks detachment, and these branches would mean attachments. But in this case, there are less of those kind of lines and a break on the heart line just under the ring finger. If you ask me regarding the exact age when these problems arose, probably I might have been able to say something if I had the full image of his hand. But even then, I might not have been able to pinpoint exactly at what particular age that these heart-related issues happened. So that's the reason I would say probably I would stop from commenting any further regarding this particular aspect. If we look at the heart line, and the middle distance is somewhere out here, so this could be the age 50. If it happens somewhere out here, so it could have been 20, 25. That's when those things might have happened, like heart related problems coming to him. And one more thing I would like to add, this overlapping, some people might see on the hand and they might get really, really troubled. I would say do not get troubled at all. There might be many more things on your hand which are good and which might help you to recover. And every time the break on the heart line does not mean a break like some problem related to your physical heart. It could also be like an emotional breakup with somebody. An emotional breakup can happen with your father, brother, sister, mother, your wife, your children, anybody. So, or your close friends, or your or some of your cousins and all, you can have those kind of a break. So do not be troubled by this break. It might not necessarily mean only heart related issues. In some people, the break is there, but no problem as such basically happens. So that's the reason I'm cautious in saying that don't be on a lookout for a break on your heart line, and you basically assume that some bad thing has happened. You would also notice that many people, if you're looking at your own hand, probably you might see that you have a better money line than him. So assuming that you would say that money line in your hand is not giving result, and you have got a better money line than Arnold, who has made immense amount of money. So here I would say that money line tells very limited about how much money you are going to be basically having. Try to understand. It would tell you very less about how much. I would say in percentage terms, I give only 10 to 15% importance to the money line as far as money goes. There are other aspects that play out in a much better way. Having less lines over your hand is a good sign. Like out here you would see a very less kind of lines. The hand structure, the bone structure of the hand is good. Those are the good things to have. The heart line is ending on the mount of Saturn. This is a beautiful sign. These are upward line on the mount of Jupiter, the biggest planet, the area of growth and expansion, the upward line from the headline going towards out here, and few lines of Mercury. These are the lines of Mercury. So these are in combination, these things basically give effect. You would also notice that he's also doesn't have a very strong kind of a sun line. So many people might have a much better line than him, but their finances are going to be probably 1/100 of what he basically has. So it's not correlated that if you have a very strong kind of a sun line, those things are going to give more result. It just means that that if you have got a simple kind of a line, even that is likely to give you result, provided your hand structure is good, provided your amount of Venus and Mars and Jupiter and Mercury, all of them are good. And the only thing people should not have is crisscrossing lines over any portion of your hand. Those lines are basically going to destroy that particular area if you have those. So you have to work to improve upon them. You have to work upon them. You have to be very cautious how you utilize your energies in those particular field where you find these kind of too many lines over it. So out here I am trying to clear a few doubts about what people people would surely be looking at their own hands to determine how successful they are going to be. The length of the Mercury finger is also extremely important. If it crosses the ring finger top line, it's considered to be a long finger of Mercury. This is the finger of communication. Again, the length is good. If we compare the first, the Jupiter finger, the area of politics, religion, administration, and the finger of Sun. This is the finger of creativity, risk-taking abilities. This is the area of gambling. This is also the area of intoxication. But those are the negative aspects. Not necessarily everybody would basically be into it. So the person who has got a longer finger of Sun is likely to be more more famous. And a finger, if this finger is comparatively shorter, those people are submitting kind of people. If this finger was longer, first finger was longer, it would mean that the person is bossy. The second finger is always going to be long, the finger of Saturn. This is the finger of Sun. So the comparison is between the Jupiter and the Sun finger, and the Sun finger is longer, so more creativity to this particular person. So out here I've tried to explain to you what and how the hand, how it basically tells about us, Lastly, before ending, I would also say that a long finger of Mercury is good, but many successful people also have a finger that only reaches till here. So Pranab Mukherjee just has our past president of India. He has the Mercury finger just this till this particular point. So he has got an extremely short Mercury finger. So you can't say it just with one benchmark that you should have a long Mercury finger, only then you're going to be successful. You can have a very short finger also, and then you can be successful. But the guidelines in the book basically say a longer finger is comparatively better than having a shorter Mercury finger. Thank you for watching this particular video. I hope you like this particular video. If you like this video, click on the like button and do subscribe to my channel that you see the right icon, that right side down below icon that you see. Thank you, bye, and take care.